Hello, and welcome back to New to the Scene with Nick and Lance.
Hi.
So this week we decided to do Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. About I guess 2-ish weeks past when it dropped, which is good enough. It took us a little bit of time to get through
Yeah, there's a reason why we don't get all the top hits.
it. Talking about it after it's relevant, but I guess Netflix drops it all at once and expects you to have that shit done if you're going to be a reviewer, and
If you're gonna be
we'll
a
get there.
if you're gonna be a reviewer, you have to watch it at like double speed.
Yeah.
Double speed. The second it drops, cutting out even the in at the front of the episode if you want to get it out there first. So, and we are not those guys.
Ooh, no, we got shit to do, but we ended up getting through it. And I was like, do you want to talk about this show? And you're kind of like, I don't know. I kind of want to talk about the show, I guess. I'm like, okay, well, let's try to watch it. And then if you feel like talking about it, we'll do it. And here it is.
Yep.
At the start of at the start of May came this video.
Yep. Uh, t- don't let this opening fool you. Don't click off just yet.
Yes. So we'll start with our numbers, and then we'll get into spoilery bits for the show itself.
Yep.
And we're probably going to talk about Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the movie that was made by Edgar Wright. So if you've not seen that, well, we're going to be talking about that too. So I
Yep.
guess be forewarned.
Spoilers abound.
For anything Scott Pilgrim related, I am sure. Although I'm not familiar with the comics.
I've read quite a few of the manga, but it was a while ago.
Yeah.
But
Which is not really where we're necessarily coming from, but
yeah, not a huge fan. I'm a huge fan. So
I liked the movie a good bit, and that's it. And I'm not really a huge Edgar Wright fan. I mean, he's put out movies that I'm like, I like these movies, but they're never ones that I'm like, this movie is super important to me. It's more of like I throw it in, I'm like, nah, that's fun. And then I just don't really think about it
I don't
too
think I
much.
have any movie that I'm like, this movie is super important to me. I just there's movies that I just like a lot. I'm trying to think. Is there a movie that's like super important to me?
Transformers the movie.
I need you to be more specific.
The Transformers the movie. Does that narrow it down a bit more?
Yes, the cartoon.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, you got me.
All right. All right. So, Lance, what would you rate Scott Pilgrim Takes Off as a whole from 0 to 10?
I would give this series. Okay, so I'll say the first episode. I had a lot of trouble getting through because it was just okay. And then after that, the series picked up a lot. I'll explain why. I would give this I'd give it a 7.
No, no, I went low. That nice little 5, because I kind of assumed with how much we were dragging heels that you might have.
That was just after the first episode, though. Like I watched the first episode one night, just so I could see, like what it was all about. And then when we had that conversation of, are we going to do this? I had only seen the first episode. I think you had only seen what, a couple.
I'd seen half of it.
Okay, yeah, I had only seen the first episode, and I was like, eh. And then I continued, and well, I'll explain more of it later.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
hey, Nick,
Yes.
on an episode episode on a scale from 0 to 10, being holy shit, I hate this movie, it's dog shit 0, and oh my god, it was fantastic, but just slightly under Cats 10. What would you give this?
4.
A 4? Okay, well, I should have went pessimistic.
Yeah. I I started 6. As the show went on, it went to a 5, and near the end, it tanked at like 4 and 3, enough to kind of like this series is more of a 4 to me than even a 5.
I will say that this was the best Scott Pilgrim offering that barely had Scott Pilgrim in it.
Yes. So spoiler warnings. I would take a point off for the story, and it's all 1 point higher for me because I like the animation. Like the art style is cool, so it's a 4. Otherwise, it might be a 3
Wow.
for what's going on because it sucked to me. I did not like it like at all. It felt very UA, no AU, like Tumblr fan fictiony, like alternate universe. Like, oh man, what would happen if like this went on? And look, everyone's friends and they're all getting along, and woo, everyone's buddy. But I'm like, this fucking blows. I don't want to see this.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely understand that point of view. I get what you're saying. I think what brought me around was that I like Scott Pilgrim, but he's not my favorite character in the show.
No.
I think what I really dug about this was they removed him in the first episode, and then you got like looks into the seven evil exes. You got more storyline than the little bit of like Ramona dated me when we were in the 5th grade and she broke my heart, so then I became evil. You know, like that's all you really got of them. Now, if there might be mangas out there where they went into more detail, but I liked that they had spotlights for each of the characters. You know, I liked knowing more about Todd. I liked knowing more about like Roxy. Like it was neat getting their little bit of perspective on the characters. So I thoroughly enjoyed that. The ending did get loosey goosey.
Yeah, it's just all very kumbaya-ish, I guess,
Right.
for a show in which Scott Pilgrim punches people into coins.
Right.
I don't need to see everyone holding hands and being happy at the end.
Well, I mean, Scott Pilgrim was not happy at the end.
Sure he was. The other Scott Pilgrim wasn't.
Yeah.
The Will Forte one.
Yeah.
Which I don't know why you would have to take Michael Cera and be like, we have to age up this voice with Will Forte. I'm like, I'm pretty sure you could just have Michael Cera talking a more probably natural register for him and he'd sound older.
Get goofy voice to like goofier voice, I guess. Plus, going through the cast that was in this, I'm pretty sure this was Edgar Wright calling all of his friends and being like, "Want to make a buck?"
Probably because Simon Pegg and Nick Frost were in it.
They were the security guards.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people like that were just making random voices. We'll go through some of the cast here in a minute.
I think my favorite voice was Chris Evans doing I don't remember the character's name. It's not Todd. What's the what's the actor one?
Oh God, I'm blanking right now. And this is gonna make me lose all street cred from my fucking. So Chris Evans was Lucas Lee.
Lucas Lee, that's right.
Yes.
Lucas.
So sorry, you were saying.
I think he was my favorite voice out of all of them. And then also Mary Winstead, is that her name?
Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Who is just like she's a good voice actress.
But I mean, she's flat through most of it. But that's just how Ramona talks.
I don't think she was get like more voice than because I really like Aubrey Plaza, but I didn't particularly care about Julie in this one.
Yeah, they didn't give Julie a whole lot, but they did establish her as evil for the next season. So
I hope there's never another season of this.
I hope you're wrong. So you had Michael Cera, Scott Pilgrim, of course. Mary Elizabeth Winstead as Ramona. You had Satya Bhabha as Matthew Patel. Kieran Culkin as Wallace Wells. Chris Evans as Lucas Lee. I'm just going to go through like the big ones. Anna Kendrick as Stacy Pilgrim, although she wasn't really that
She was
in it.
She was barely in this one.
Right. Brie Larson as Envy Adams. Kim Pine as Allison Pill is Kim Pines. I did it backwards. I was like, Aubrey Plaza as Julie Powers. You had Brandon Routh. I love Brandon Routh as Todd Ingram. And I really like Todd Ingram. You had Jason Schwartzman as Gideon Graves / Gordon Goose.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Don't forget Mae Whitman.
Oh yeah.
Because she's
She's Roxy Richter.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, she's also Katara. Is that the name?
Yes, she is. No, she's not Katara. You want to take another guess at that? You want to go look at the pin on my jacket?
In Avatar, is that her?
Yeah. She's not Katara.
Am I getting the character's name wrong?
I can't find a picture. She's Toph.
Oh, she's Toph?
Yeah, she's Toph Beifong.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Let's go under her credits.
Filmography.
No, it's going to be way down there if you do it in chronological order.
Oh, really?
It's Avatar is 16, 17, 18 years
I hope
old.
I'm not wrong, because I'm totally going to shut this video down, because I mean, I'm probably wrong. But, oh, please don't make me be wrong.
Wrong in real time, apparently.
Yeah.
I told you that chronological is going to take a minute.
Oh, yeah, no. Right. She is Katara. I thought she was Toph.
Swish. Swish.
Well, I'll just edit this out at work. I'll just cut this thing right out. It's just going to be a long thing of us just moving our mouths but no sound. And like fucking Excite Bike. Beer, 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 beer,
No,
beer.
it's going to be badly dubbed of me going, oh, she's tough, and you going, no, man, she's Katara.
See, you just said, no, man, she's Katara. See, I'm just going to grab those bites and put those in there. Okay, my bad. You know what? I should have known that because
I don't know who Toph is.
well, looking at the picture of her, I know that the girl who played Toph, I believe she's a cute little blonde lady.
Well, more importantly, Mae Whitman also played Egg in Arrested Development.
Ew. Egg.
Her name's Anne, but Jason Bateman just kind of like her thing in Arrested Development is that she's bland. So whenever it would come time for it to be like Michael Cera being like, "Oh, that's my girlfriend," Anne, and his dad would just be like, "Who?
That's right.
Who?"
Yeah, they keep forgetting she's there.
Yeah, it's like I just love the way that she eats her egg. It's like, okay, well, how about you and Egg get in the car? It's like Anne.
Okay. All right, that's right.
Yeah.
You didn't see that score, did you?
No,
Okay.
I'm not even really looking.
Sorry. So you had Mark Webber as Stephen Stills. You had Ellen Wong as Knives Chow.
Yeah.
This dude, I think he's fantastic. He's the dude's like
Oh,
Roxy Richter versus
versus
Lucas
Richter.
Lee.
Yeah.
Fight. Stephen Johnson, he's the announcer. I think he did a fantastic job. Anyway,
So some of the fights were cool. Mm-hmm. Like the last fight was going kind of neat. I like seeing everyone fight and all that kind of shit. But then it gets to kind of just I don't know. It just feels like an alternate universe Tumblr-ish fan fiction where we're like, man, I'm gonna mash up Todd and Wallace. I'm like, why?
you didn't.
I'm gonna make Goose and Julie like together. I'm like, I don't give a fuck about these people's relationship with each other.
It didn't fish you in like the whodunit didn't fish you in at all.
No, not really.
Because I was pretty sure, like, when I saw the portal, I was kind of like, okay, that's probably Todd. But then after he started eating all the food, I was like, he's going to lose his vegan powers, so it's not him. Mm-hmm. And then when they were like, robots are vegan, I was like, come on. That's a stretch. That's a stretch. That means that cows are fucking vegan. Vegan and should have vegan powers too.
But watch Kung Pao. Got
Yeah.
Kung Fu powers. You can shoot no plus.
So there were little things that I really loved. Mm-hmm. So,
the cover of the Bubblegum Crisis song.
yeah, when they did Peña Wa Hurricane, I fucking I tripped out. And like, cause I was laughing, I was like, holy shit, they're doing like that fucking cover of it. And then they played the song at the end in the credits. So I love like little throwbacks like that. Now, if I wasn't a fan of Bubblegum Crisis, I'd be like, what the fuck is this song? But,
Yeah, I didn't watch the original Bubblegum Crisis, so it sounded familiar, but that was about it.
yeah, no, I was laughing too hard at that part.
It's mostly I'm just, why the fuck am I watching this?
And I also like that the twins looked like, I forget what the game was called, but there was a game that was out on, I think it was like one of the Segas, where I think it was like a run around on skates and like paint graffiti on the walls and shit. But they looked just like those things. But yeah,
Jet Set Radio or something?
that was it, Jet Set Radio.
Is that Jet Set Radio Future? Because that was one on Dreamcast.
Was it?
Jet Set Radio Future is, but I know I think that was like a second game or a third game. I've never played them. I didn't have a Gamecast.
I'm pretty. It's
GameCube or Dreamcast.
GameCube or Dreamcast. I had a GameCube.
I had a Gamecast.
We need to do that movie too.
What movie is that?
That was Malibu's Most Wanted.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
I know that from you quoting it.
Oh yeah, no, that movie was fucking hilarious. It was terrible, but it was hilarious.
Yeah.
But yeah, like that's the thing I really liked. I liked them looking further into everyone's little life. I thought it was funny at the end when he was like, "Well, let's go to the place where we know all the evil exes will be." And then he was trying to fight all of them. They're like, "Hey, man, I heard we were cool in the future. Hey, it's good to see you, brother." Like, I thought that was funny because that's the whole point. That's what he does. He fights, and no one wanted to fight him, so he's just like, "The fuck do I do?" You know. I also believe near the end of it that it could have been Nega Scott because in the Edgar Wright movie, he was he had Nega Scott show up at the end because he was like the big final boss. I was waiting for that. They didn't do that, and then they did that future thing, and I was kind of like, okay, sure, why not? That all felt flat to me. I don't think they really explained who Wallace was married to at that point, or the sugar daddy or whatever.
Someone that worked at Nintendo.
Just works at Nintendo, and I think you saw the glimpse of like him meeting the person
in the epilogue or whatever it was.
Yeah, and I'm sure that means something to somebody, but it meant nothing to me.
Nothing to me.
And I didn't want to look too much up because we try to go as natural as we can with the information that we have. We don't want to bite off anybody else's information too much. We do, at least when you read things.
Yeah, usually I just will browse IMDb trivia at like most.
Yeah, but like,
and maybe a commentary or two.
Well, see,
but I have to like a movie before I watch the commentary.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I'm right there with you on that. But like, it had a lot of really good stuff, like the episode 4, when it was going into Lucas Lee's storyline. My United States of whatever was playing.
I forgot about that song entirely until they started playing it. I'm like, oh fuck, I remember this song.
Officer came with me. I told you. I was like, whatever. I fucking love that song. It's hilarious. But then listening to the voices and picking out like voice talent that was in each of the episodes, that was a lot of fun for me too. Because like hearing Simon Pegg, and I was like, okay, I know who that is. And then as soon as the other guy walked down, I was like, that's got to be Nick Frost. It looks like fucking Nick Frost. When they did the Edgar Wrong, do you know who was voiced him?
I didn't pay much attention.
So the guy who was Edgar Wrong, so he's in a series of. I think you like him. He's in a series of an old comedy troupe that I thought you used to like back in the day, but Kevin McDonald.
Oh. Kids in the Hall? I never liked Kids in the Hall.
Really?
No, I kind of hated that show.
Oh, they had some funny ones.
There was a couple of funny bits, but for the most
Glory
part,
Hole?
I didn't.
No, that was that's the way.
That's White Kids You Know.
White Kids You Know. Okay.
Kids in the Hall is like I pinch your face, or I crush your head. I wasn't super into them, mainly because they were always on Comedy Central, and that was back in the day when there was like 2 channels that I would watch.
That's true.
That was before I swapped to just home and garden television as being just the thing I watched.
Home and garden television.
HGTV. That's just amusing as fuck. I can't explain why, but like watching House Hunters or whatever, they're like, oh cool, which house are they gonna be in? It's the moment I got old. So from Comedy Central to HGTV.
Welcome to many moons ago. So my favorite character in Scott Pilgrim was Roxy Richter. I fucking love Roxy. I absolutely adored her in the movie. And I really liked her in this too.
Yeah, for the one episode she was in, for the most part.
Yeah, but like the way they were moving through like different film types.
That was interesting.
And different genres. I thought that was pretty cool. And I just think she's adorable. But I also like that I like when they were doing the descriptions, like Roxy Richter. This is her age, and she's like half ninja. And I like the little Oni mask that she was wearing the entire time too. So, but yeah, I came around real fast.
Yeah, I started like up, and then it was a slow decline over time as I just found myself less and less interested, because it kind of came off to me like, okay, we're just going to go to each of the X's and patch things up with it and find out that they're not so bad after all, and then they kept doing that. I'm like, and I'm not here for this.
Well, I mean, Ramona was the common thread.
Yeah, and she's going to each evil X, being like, oh, well, if it's not this person, it's going to be this person. Okay, well, if it's not them, it's going to be this person. It's not them, it's going to be this person. So we did the step down for each person, and her kind of like learning, I guess, to apologize for what she did to everyone and all that kind of stuff.
See, I didn't see it as that.
Or just kind of, I don't know, like make amends, I guess.
She kind of forgave herself. Like she had to choose herself. She was throwing herself to people.
Yeah.
I guess to kind of like get her confidence or her happiness or whatever, and then her future self chose herself. It's like I don't have to be with a person to be happy. I could just, be with myself. I thought that was a fairly powerful, like, look at it, because people always say you have to love yourself before other people can love you too. But she was also the common denominator in every one of the relationships, because she would date them and then immediately leave them.
Yeah.
And then she did most of the leaving, if not all of it, in a fairly callous manner.
Yeah. Just kind of afraid of goodbyes or whatever, afraid to like hurt other people, so she would just dip.
Well, it's like there's that song, "Thank You Next." Thank you, I'm so freaking happy you're my ex, or something like that. It was just basically a girl that was just like, okay, next, and next, and that's cool.
Yeah.
But it just, with her, it didn't really seem like she was into like any of them, except for Gideon. But that's because he chipped her ass.
Yeah.
So
Which they hint at in this one, but then just kind of, it's done. I think at one point in time in episode 1, she like touches the back of her neck or something like that, and then that doesn't really come up again.
No, I mean, it wasn't.
Well, it seemed like the first episode was going to be like, it's just going to be like the series, and then they did like the flip on you, and I'm like, okay, well, we're doing something different. Let's see where this goes. And then they started doing something different. I'm like, never mind, I want what it was. I was interested, and then I lost interest. I would have rather seen the movie stretched. What I really would have seen is not this at all. I don't like...
I know you did this as a favor to me.
I did. But mostly it's... I was never... Scott Pilgrim's fine. The movie's great. I like the movie. I never wanted to go to the comics. I don't want more of it, per se. But I also love gargoyles. I don't want more gargoyles either. Because I don't need it. Especially like when you... If someone was to take gargoyles, like what the comics are doing at least, we're like, we ended gargoyles here. Let's keep going with it. Cool. So they did Scott Pilgrim Takes Off, and it was the movie, but now we're starting here and we're doing more shit with it. I would be more interested in that rather than starting at the beginning again and going through and be like, oh, swooping it up. I'm like, I'm not into it.
Okay, I mean, I was fine with it. Like I said, Amber doesn't like Scott Pilgrim just for the fact she doesn't like Michael Cera. So
valid.
He's fine.
I like Michael Cera.
I do too. He's fine. And I know you're watching. I'm sorry. I'm not picking on you right now. It's valid.
Yeah, no, I get it.
Yeah.
I'm fine with Michael Cera. I can see why people don't like him.
Well, she doesn't like him because he's Michael Cera and everything he does. But like we also watched a movie.
A lot of people are a lot of just themselves and everything.
Yeah, but we watched another movie called Molly's Game. That he was somebody different. Supposedly he was like, I don't know, a famous Hollywood person. It was based off a true story, and he was different enough in that movie where it was just kind of like, okay, he was just sinister Michael. He was Nega Scott. He was sinister Michael Cera.
Except Nega Scott was actually kind of a cool guy. We're gonna get coffee later.
Yeah. You're gonna have coffee later. He's actually really cool. That was, oh my god, that movie's so good.
Yeah, the movie is good. I like that movie a lot.
Scott versus Nega Scott. Fight. So I went over there and that sounds cool. I'm like, dude, I laughed out loud in that.
But I guess with the movie, it's kind of got that amusing charm of putting video game-ish logic to a live action thing that makes it kind of novel. Putting video game logic to a cartoon, it's not really that novel of a concept anymore.
Sure. But that's like its whole thing. Right?
Yeah, so it just kind of loses a bit of that sort of charm for me. But I love the animation.
Yeah, but the fights were so much cooler.
Some of them were.
Well, like Roxy's...
And some of them weren't.
Roxy's fight was pretty cool. The fight at the end of the season was pretty cool.
I like the Roxy one is neat. Lucas Lee versus the Paparazzi, I didn't like that one at all.
So I was okay with it.
Was it The World versus Scott Pilgrim in the last one? I think that one was fine. Gideon Graves versus Matthew Patel, wasn't super into.
So that
mainly because the beginning part I think kind of blew.
I thought that was interesting because I like Matthew's move where he does like the Bollywood 8 arms where the girls like fall in behind him and he has like the 10 arm attack. He's got a really awesome power set. It just sucks that he goes down like a chump in the first movie because I like that they were also his security detail. And they were up in the fucking rafters like, we found it, it's clear. I was like, all right, that's pretty cool. But It's the first episode to me almost felt like it was a pilot episode, like proof of concept. Mm-hmm. Here, Netflix, this is what we want to do with it. And then, like the second episode, to me, the animation got a lot better. They got a fuck ton of mileage out of the Ramona changing her hair bit, because like nothing of that changed except for the hair colors. Like it was the exact same fucking thing. So they saved like a whole minute in that with that shit. But like the second episode, it seemed like the animation was a lot better, and the voice acting to me was a lot better. And you could tell that they're not in the same room with each other. You could tell that they're basically doing their lines.
Voice actors are rarely in the same room as anyone else.
Right. Well, I mean, but it's like when they talked, a lot of the lines came out flat. Mm-hmm. Like the only person I really feel like projected was Knives. Like whoever plays Knives, like when she's geeking out on something or when she freaks out and realizes something, she gets into it. And then also Brandon Routh as Ingram when Wallace leaves him, and he's like, "There were sparks," and he's like, "There's no such thing as sparks," Like and he was I thought that he did a really good job too. But it's like with every episode after that, it seemed like I don't know, like Edgar Wright was just like, okay, we spent like this much money on this episode. Let's put like another 12 grand into it.
So was Edgar Wright was the actual, is he the writer or something like that on this one?
I believe so.
I don't know what his involvement was on this project.
Yes. So as far as I know, this is all the same people who did. I mean, I could be wrong. So series writing credits. So all cast and crew. Series directed by Moko Chan and Abel. Okay, I could be wrong, but as far as I knew,
So I wasn't sure if he was involved or if they were just nodding to the movie. And I never cared enough to look into it.
so he's a producer.
Produced, okay.
But I mean, the way it was sold to me originally was it's like everyone that had involvement in the movie, which was all the actors, and then like I heard that Edgar Wright was like plotting the series with Brian Lee O'Malley, who is the creator.
Okay.
And that they were kind of working hand in hand. Now that could have changed, but that's what sold me. As soon as I heard that, I was like, "Oh my god, it's gonna be fucking amazing! I'm totally in." But then again, they could have been like, "It's fucking Scott Pilgrim's favorite pair of shoes," and I'd been like, "Okay, let's watch it." Just I like Scott Pilgrim.
Yeah, I ended up expecting this just to be another version of the same story, which I wasn't super excited to watch.
So they subverted your expectations a little too much.
Oh, they said, I'm like, okay, here, I'm interested in, we're doing something different. And then what we ended up doing, it just wasn't to my liking, really.
I think the camera's too high.
Yes. It's as high as it always is.
I've had this game for many years, and I played it once. No one wants to play this game with me.
I don't know what it is.
It's a card game. It's Card Battler. You like Legendary. You play Legendary with me, and you really like it. We should do a game review. I should introduce you to it.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever played it.
You have each of your people, and then they have like their recoveries and stuff. And then they have their power sets, and these are their moves.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have like your Steven Stills, and you have like there's jobs that you have to get a job and earn money. And I don't really remember because, like I said, I played this fucking once.
Yeah. It's usually when we do board game days, we do the old favorites that people haven't gotten to play in a while.
That's true. Well, it's like every single time I think we're gonna get a break from Legendary, they release a new set. We're like, let's fucking play these new characters.
Yeah, and we've not played since, the last two expansions for Legendary.
Who do I want facing out towards the camera? Do I want Scott? Do I want the crew?
Mm-hmm.
Do I want Gideon? Do I want Ramona? Ramona?
It's not Gideon.
Okay, I'll let you win this one.
It's at least not Gideon.
I like Gideon.
Yeah.
Made me swallow my gum. Ah! You don't want that takes get out of your system. And in case you're wondering why I have Hera up, she's played by Mary Elizabeth Winstead.
Yes.
In
In the live action.
In the live action.
Yeah.
So, I'm not gonna make you talk too much more about this.
I don't have much to say, I suppose.
Yeah, it's
It was okay-ish. It started off okay, like better, a lot above average. Then it went to okay, and then it went to less than okay, as I just got tired of everything they were doing,
well,
which
so,
kind of brought down the rest of it. Because usually the way things end tends to be how I feel about things. It's like Mass Effect 3 was going pretty good for a while, then the ending made me feel like garbage, so that brought down Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, and Mass Effect 3.
man, come on, dude.
The ending of anything can ruin the journey for me. So like I know people say like life is a journey, or like this is a journey. Like it doesn't matter what's at the end. It's the journey itself. But if I know that we're on a journey for you to kick me in the dick, like I'm going to take you on a cross USA tour, and at the end of it, I'm going to fucking punch you in the dick. And we're going like, here are the Mammoth Caves. Aren't they really interested, Nick? I'm going to be thinking about the punch to the dick. And you're gonna take me to like, here's the Grand Canyon, Nick. Isn't this amazing? Like, this is really great. But at the end of it, I'm gonna get punched in the fucking dick.
Okay.
Until we get to the end, then you punch me in the dick. And
Can I give you the other side of that?
sure.
So, what if I took you on this amazing vacation? We spent 2 months going from place to place, looking at all this shit. We have a fucking blast. And then one night, I just walk into the hotel room and I'm like, dude, stop. I picked us up some burgers. Here's some Cokes and shit. And by the way, you'd be like, fuck the Grand Canyon. Fuck that casino.
Yep.
Disney World is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, no.
It would ruin it would ruin the trip. 'Cause I'd remember the negative, not the positive.
Well, people often focus
On
more
the
on the
negative,
negative. You
not
know?
the positive. Yeah, I mean I'm not unique in thinking this,
Oh, no.
but it's just kind of
I remember every terrible thing that's ever happened in my life. I can vaguely remember every good thing that happened to me when I was young. Like it's really funny. Like every time I've completely lost either my humanity or someone tore me down, I could remember it like frame by frame like a classic movie. And I'm sure my brain has altered that fucking memory.
Well, I
over
know
the
there's
years,
also
but-
experiments about like how much money you gain versus how much money you lose. Like how much of those it takes to balance out. Like losing $10 feels like as bad as getting $100 feels good. So like this has as much bad as this has as much good. And the money you lose is negligible in comparison to how much you have to gain. Like you feel losses more than gains. So just in the life is a journey thing, if I know where the journey is taking me, then I'm just along for the ride being like, well, I fucking know how this ends and it fucking sucks. So even though like, oh, fucking this really cool things happen, I mean, check out like, go on a quest with, whomever. I'm like, this fucking ends with us all getting capped in the head. I'm like, I don't want to, unless the ending is like poignant and beautiful. Like I know Green Mile or whatever. Like I know how in The Mist, things that end that kind of subvert my expectation with very dour endings. But it's not that the ending is dour. It's that the ending is something I don't enjoy.
Did you like The Mist?
Yes, because I enjoy the ending. So despite the fact that the journey leads to a place that's dour, I was like impressed that they went there.
They had the balls to do that.
That they did it. And that you're like, man, this ending is... When people are watching it like, man, I hope they don't do the sad ending. They don't do the sad ending. They do the more sad ending. They do the super sad ending or whatever. And that is interesting to me. So it's not that the ending is negative. It's that I don't like the journey when the ending is not enjoyed by me.
I get it. No, I'm not picking on you,
Yeah.
but it's just...
It's how can an entire thing be ruined by the end? That's just the way it feels.
Well, I guess to me, it's just like, I love Jackson. He's the light of my life. He's the best thing that's ever happened to me. But I know one day he's going to be completely embarrassed by me and not want to be seen with me. And he's going to go through a period where he's going to hate me. But I'm not going to be like, the first time he took steps, fuck that motherfucker. You know what I mean? It's not going to ruin all that stuff for me just because I know it's coming. It's just, I'm enjoying it as I go through it.
But that's also not necessarily you finding that bit bad necessarily. I mean, if he came up to you and be like, if you knew that he stabs you in the dick later, and then like blows up your house and like kills your dog and does like a whole bunch of other stuff, maybe it would make things worse. But at the same time, it's hard because it's your kid.
Yeah, well,
It'd have to be like something not that has and unrivaled amount of love attached to it.
Yeah, okay. All right. Maybe I went a little too extreme with that particular example, but all I'm saying is
I mean,
the
if,
ride we're on right now, we don't know where it's going to end up, but we do know that it's going to end. So,
but again, it's not necessarily that things end that make the journey not fun. It's that if the ending was bad, like if I'm lying on my deathbed, like bleeding out, and someone's like stabbing my knees or something like that, and just making it awful, it might make all I'm going to be thinking about is how bad the ending is, not how great the thing was, because I'm being actively stabbed in the knees or whatever.
I don't remember who it was, but some doctor said you can ask most people how they want to die, and they'll say in their sleep peacefully. But he said 9 out of 10 people, you leave life screaming. So it's like those who just kind of leave that.
Sudden and unexpected.
Yeah, that like it's like the doctors are like, you can't help it when you're about to cross that final curtain. Like most people just flip the fuck out because this is all you know, and everything else is like your brain can't comprehend the next step. But it's like, what was it? I think a review that we're going to be doing relatively soon. Childhood ends as soon as you learn that you're going to die. But it's like I'm going to enjoy every second of this ride. And I can't remember what comic book it was, but like I think it might have been a Deadpool one where like the girl was going to commit suicide, and he was like, you have more to live for. He's like, but I'm not going to be tacky and say all that. Just tell me, life is a lot of downs, but it's about those up points. It's like, so if you think that there are no more up points in your future, go ahead and jump. If you think that there's never going to be another up point, another glimmering moment, another point of happiness, and then she can't do it, because it's not your choice. Well, yeah, I might come over to your house tomorrow and just be like, come on, motherfucker, we're going to Disney World. And then we're going to go to Disney World. We're going to build lightsabers, make fucking robots, ride all the fucking rides. And then later on that night in the hotel room, I'm going to punch you in the dick.
I don't want it. Pass. But the thing you're saying is like, I'm going to displace you for a while. Like, no, I'm fine. Like, all I want to do is be home.
Home's pretty good.
I'm a homebody.
No, I get it.
I would rather, while people are doing these big adventures, be like, I can just be home. That sounds tiring.
Well, Nick, let's find out. Sorry.
And I have a feeling
It's late.
this is like Cyberpunk Edge Runners, where everyone loves it, and I despise it. It's whereas everyone, so I think Cyberpunk people are like fucking amazing, and I'm like here. Whereas I think this is probably more like this, and I'm more like here. So we bring those numbers a little bit closer together.
Okay, so thinking that.
8.9. No, wait, 8.2.
8.2 on IMDb.
Yeah.
It's very close. 7.9
Okay.
out of 10. No critic reviews. So Metacritic has nothing to say at this particular one.
Who gives a shit what Metacritic says?
And a lot of people are like, I watched the first episode and was like, I don't know. And then the very first review I came at was like, why Scott Pilgrim should be anime of the year. And I was like, okay.
No.
Settle down, buddy.
Yeah. But then again, I've not watched what's come out this year really either.
But
For anime wise, which I don't. I'm kind of iffy on calling this an anime, but I guess it kind of technically is.
well, to me, the first episode was like the weakest one. But let's see if the internet agrees with us. So episode 1 was 7.8. Episode 2 was 7.4. 3 was 8.1. 4 was 8.0. 5 was 7.8. Episode 6 was 7.9. Episode 7 was 8.5. And episode 8 was 8.7. So a lot of people liked how it ended. And the lowest submission was episode 2, A League of Their Own, at 7.4. Which I can kind of agree with, because I did not like seeing Gideon being a punk ass. That fell apart. I honestly thought he was the one that was behind it.
It seemed obvious, but at the same time, it would make sense.
Yeah, like I was expecting him to I needed a break to plot my next fucking scheme. But I also liked whenever he told Julie at one point, he was like, what if I told you that I was doing all this? But while I was doing this, I was plotting my next evil mission. She's like, I'd say that's hot. And he was like, yeah, I'm totally doing that. She's like, now get inside and clean my fucking house. She's like, oh, yep. Like, I thought that was pretty good. All right, so that was that.
Yeah.
Now, Nick. on Rotten Tomatoes. What do you think?
How many critic reviews do you actually have?
Ooh,
Does it have the with like 57 reviews or some shit like that?
you know,
Or does it not say?
it doesn't say.
Okay.
It just gives me a score with no numbers.
Okay.
Ah, shit, I lost it.
Oh.
Shit, bats.
Well, then I'm gonna say 86. Whenever you get it back up.
No, not Ascot. I hate the okay. 86,
87.
87 for the
For the
critics.
critics, yeah.
96. Now, because there's no number there, that could be one guy.
Yeah, that's kind of a one. When you don't know if the numbers are small, the numbers the like if the critic amount is not it's not settled into a reasonable number at that point. So I don't know.
All right. Nick, what do you think the audience gave it?
91.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah, we'll go with 91.
86. So the audience didn't like it as much as the critics did.
Yeah, they don't have numbers for either of them.
Yeah, nothing. There's nothing there.
Yeah, it's weird.
It is weird. But
Although scrolling down reminds me that they're making another Willy Wonka movie, which just makes me sad.
it's got to have Hugh Grant in it as an Oompa Loompa. Yeah, I don't give a shit either, honestly. It's... See, that to me is the Gargoyles to me. I love the Gene Wilder...
Yeah, and they did another one. Why? Fucking why?
and it was horrible. It was fucking ponderous. I hated it. I hated it so much.
So,
But anyways,
yeah, I think there's another instance in which some anime came out about a thing that's been established, and people were like, "Ooh, this is fucking amazing," and I watched them like, eh.
I think if you're a fan of it,
Whatever.
I think if you're a fan of it, you'll like it. If you're not really that much of a fan of it, you're just gonna be like, because to me, it's almost like getting a manga. You get a manga, you read through it, and you're like, it's a good story. And then the next one could be further into the storyline that you read, or it could be like another crazy adventures that they went on, you know? So it's exciting when you get the next comic book. But
That's I guess also like I didn't watch Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and they show you Todd. I'm like, ooh, how did he get his vegan powers? Or I want to know more about Todd. I'm like, I never. And they gave me exactly the right amount of Todd Ingram. Like, I never need any more Todd Ingram ever.
I love Todd Ingram.
And here's Lucas Lee. That's it. It's a perfect amount. Don't need any fucking more about Lucas Lee. It's like, do you want to learn how he became a star, or how like he's got this whatever attitude? Don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck about what's going on with Lucas Lee. They gave me the exact right amount. It was funny. He showed up. His pit crew or his stage or a stunt men beat up Scott, but then Scott beat them up, and then he got coaxed into railing down. Like that's great, perfect, right amount, done.
No,
Never need any more.
Ed, you're right. You're a genius.
No more. I don't need anything else. Like, oh, do you want to know about the background of Gideon Goose? Like, no, fucking, I don't give a shit. Like, they gave me just enough. I don't need any more.
What was it that we just recently...
He can just be evil. I'm fine with that. What's his motivation? He's an evil dick. Great. I don't need that. Wonderful. That's it. Perfect.
I mean, sometimes it's nice getting a little additional information. Like, I know you didn't like...
If I was really into it, I might want to delve into it. If I was like, this is my favorite movie ever, and they're like, would you like more about Gideon? I'm like, fuck yeah, let's go. But I just liked it. Like, the movie was good. I liked the movie as it was. I don't need any more of it.
Okay. Eventually, when we hit 180,000 viewers, I'd like someone to go back through all the videos and give me an average of Nick's score and give me an average of my score. Because it's hard for me to find things that you get excited about.
I don't get excited for much.
I know. I need you to write me down a short list, brah.
Of things to get excited for? I don't know. What's even things like... So I gave Josie and the Pussycats a 10, and they're like, fuck, would you like a movie where we learned about how Melody and like the other cat and Josie and all these people came together? No, fuck that. I don't care. Do you want another Josie and the Pussycats movie? It's too late. It's been years. Fucking done. Done with that. Watch the movie. Movie's great. Fucking 10 out of 10. Never need another Josie and the Pussycats movie ever again.
And I think that's probably where the disconnect with this one is they made the first movie and I loved it. And then, like, so much time went by.
Yeah.
And then they announced they were doing the cartoon and they were bringing back the cast again. And I was like,
Why?
Yeah, why is this a thing people are asking for? As far as I knew, Scott Pilgrim didn't like make a resurgence, as you know, but it just seemed like this was a thing that they were just going to do. But like 2010 is when Pilgrim versus the World came out, and I remember watching that in a fucking movie theater when I was supposed to be at work. But I was on my lunch. I had a long lunch and I'd worked late that day. Please don't fire me. But yeah, I think we've said about everything there is to say
Yeah.
about Scott Pilgrim.
Takes off.
Yeah. So now you take off.
So, lights, does Scott Pilgrim take off?
I mean, I did like it. It got better for me with every episode. Fight scenes got better. Ramona was basically the lead of this particular series. I did think that a lot of their backgrounds were pretty interesting. I thought that Wallace was a lot more one note in this one, where Wallace was boring, but like Kieran Culkin, like I thought he was great in the
And Wilson
movie.
was just kind of mean in this one.
Yeah, he was just needlessly mean in this one. Like he straight up hated
I get it,
Scott,
yeah, I got
and
it,
after
yeah.
Scott moved out, it was like Scott, and then he's like who?
Yeah.
Like he was just it wasn't even it didn't even feel fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, if you like Scott Pilgrim, you'll probably like this.
Unless you're like me.
And
And then you won't like
and then you won't. So
So, did you watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World and think, I need more of this all the time? I think you'd be okay with the show. If you watch Scott Pilgrim versus the World and you're like, yeah, I guess. It's a movie, I guess. And then you probably don't need to watch this.
animation's great.
Animation's great. I love the animation. A whole point just for the animation. Which isn't the first time that one single aspect of a show brings it up a point for me. Because I rewatched Shoujo Kakame Utena. And I'm like, the story's not amazing, but the music is fucking fantastic. And a whole point just for the music.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to doing season 2 by myself.
If there's a season 2, and Lance says, "Can we please talk about it?" Then I'll be here as well.
If that happens, we'll probably stop doing videos. If it's just me basically talking you into doing stuff that I just like.
Yeah.
Is that why when you walk in here like every night and I'm like, hi Nick, and you're like, hey.
I told you my favorite place is home. And me being here means that is me adjusting to not being at home. And then I've got to get over not being at home, and then
This is your home too.
it's not.
There's a bed back there for you.
No.
You have to sleep in Jack's room though.
No.
All right. Well, I think we beat all of the coins out of this one we can.
Change.
Cool. Change. Oh, sweet.
I might actually have a pocket full of change.
Oh, cool coins.
All right, bye, everybody.
See ya.